The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Kat are back.
On this week's show, we are looking at a huge mistake we made from the get-go. When we were first hired as the morning show on WZMR, we made a big oopsie doodle. We didn't negotiate or push back on our sad, tiny salaries by asking for more money. It didn't seem like an option. Our first meeting with the boss was at a restaurant where all the food was inedible. The only reason the meeting was there was because it was free. Albany Broadcasting had trade there. The menu was this minefield of fried and burnt nightmares. I remember ordering a salad because I thought, how could they screw that up, right? Well, they did. They had lettuce with butter on it. A lot of butter.
Okay, I want to start by saying that we're not elitist, whiny weirdos. Oh, with this tiny salary, I had to let my butler go, and I won't even be able to get my diamond-encrusted smart toilet. No, we signed on for actual poverty wages, and we were just trying to survive. I agreed to the terms, right, without even thinking about it. I was just so excited to get our show on in the morning, and that's what we focused on.
And you had it worse than I did.
Yeah, well, I was paid less because I didn't have the techie skills to run the board or do the editing. But what I did do was, I wrote bits, I did improv on the air, and they didn't actually see any value in that. But I thought, hey, let me hang on here, and Darwin and I will just work out creating a great show, and they'll give us a raise eventually, right?
No.
Right?
Nope.
No.
Nope. So we made fun of this a lot. And I think about this now and I'm like, why didn't we ask for more money? Like we had it, we should have right there.
Right.
But they kind of made it seem like that wasn't an option either. I don't know. I kind of kicked myself a little bit for this.
I do kick myself in it. And I think I was being a little passive aggressive about it because all I did was just create a bit about it. Do you remember?
Yes. This was great.
Who makes more?
This was brilliant.
Welcome to Who Makes More, where we ask you, the listener, who makes more, blank or cat?
And this was great because you actually looked up the salary for jobs that you would think wouldn't pay well.
And that nobody wants to do. So this was all to shame them into giving me a raise. So here's how it went. It was like, shit shoveler at the Cincinnati Elephant Zoo Pavilion. Or cat. And then we'd get a caller. Would that be cat? Nope. Shit shoveler.
Nobody caught on to the fact that every job paid more than you.
No, and it was really the unintended consequences of that bit. People felt so bad for me. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And you found some ridiculous jobs that I didn't even know were actual jobs. Like, I think the shit shoveler, I was like, do you have to bring your own shovel?
It was just my excuse to say elephant pavilion. But yeah, it was a real job. And that guy made about $2,000 more than I did a year.
And management wasn't happy about this at all. Every level.
No.
So this gets escalated to the owner.
Yeah, all the way up like we wanted it to. And our position was the station is making money. The ratings are up. So yeah, let's call a meeting with the mister. And we thought, let's get in to talk to him. And we're going to dig ourselves out of poverty. And then he wanted to speak to us. So this will work out, right?
And just a sidebar, everyone referred to him as the mister. And I liked him. And I just want to put it out there, too, if anyone at Albany Broadcasting is listening or something, we like the guy. But he definitely had his quirks, okay?
Right.
So I just want to put that out there.
No, we actually had a good relationship with the guy where he was, we could talk to him. But some conversations didn't work out the way we wanted them to.
And this definitely was one of them. So we get called into his office. I think most people, when you get called into the owner's office, feel like you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's the principal. What'd I do?
But us, we're like, he's calling in to give us a raise. This worked. Like, we're going in there thinking, cool.
This is it.
So it was neither. It wasn't. It was something we didn't expect at all. We weren't in trouble, but we also weren't getting a raise. Instead, he was trying to talk us out of getting a raise. Like that, and it turned into this bizarro land where he's like, well, listen, you should subscribe to the Sunday paper. There's a lot of coupons. You should clip them. That's what my wife and I do. And then he told us, like, for people not familiar with the Albany area, there's a chain of grocery stores called Price Chopper. And they used to do double coupons. I don't know if they still do. But the one in Bennington, Vermont would do Ripple coupons.
Oh,
So,
worth the trip,
yes, an
according
hour
to
away.
him.
And he would do that. He said he would take them to Bennington an hour away. And this was like just the same way. He was so thrifty. And I
Cheap
sat
fuck.
there.
Sorry, but you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my jaw was on the floor that we were told to clip coupons and drive to Vermont to buy our groceries.
So let's calculate the gas versus the savings. It just like it didn't compute in my brain.
But you and I were to carpool together, remember?
Oh, right. That was his workaround. Go
was a
together.
workaround.
Like you guys are together all day on the air, in the office, and then on the weekends you can go clip coupons together. I love you, Darwin, but no, I need a little time.
And I was like, I've never, it's hard to get me speechless.
Yeah, that did it. That shut you right up.
And he kept going, and it was easy to see how he became so wealthy and stayed wealthy. Like he came from nothing. To his credit, he and being frugal wasn't just a choice. I mean, he learned that early in life, and I got that. And then he talked about his suits, and he's like pulling on the sleeve of his suit, and he goes, "You see this suit? You wouldn't know I got this on clearance at JCPenney." And I'm thinking, well, actually, yeah, you kind of would.
Yeah, I kind
I
of
didn't
know.
say
I'm
that.
not a snob, but yeah.
He understood our situation, but he didn't at
Well,
the same time.
good point. So he thought I was just a kid who could live on almost minimum wage. And when in reality, I was a mom, I'm a cat mom. And dude, I needed Frisky's money. But here's the thing. Why morning shows are there at Albany Broadcasting, especially ours, the reason why they're paid so little. Do you remember what a certain salesperson explained to us? That this is painful. This is an upside down philosophy there. Shows don't matter. Comedy doesn't matter. The biggest thing in my life, comedy doesn't matter. It's the salespeople who are number one because they are the ones who bring in the money. So according to the philosophy there, you could put a squirrel and a wombat on in the morning, and to them, it makes no difference. It's all sales.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Aspect.
really cute morning show, by the way, the squirrel and the wombat. I might tune in.
Maybe we'll change the name of the podcast for season 2, Squirrel and the Wombat.
Hey, whatever brings clicks.
Which one's the squirrel, though?
I know, we're going to fight over, I want to be the squirrel.
Is
F
this
you,
gonna be like I'm the
Darwin.
Mary?
Oh, they're fighting again.
You're the Rhoda,
My God.
right?
Yeah.
I guess you're the squirrel. Okay, you could be the squirrel because you're the cute one, or I have
jeez.
ADHD. I'm the squirrel. Which way does it go? And does anyone really know what a wombat is anyway?
Are people up on their marsupials? I don't know.
I'm not. I'm going to have to
Okay.
Google. I
Yeah.
do know what a wombat is.
Of course you do.
So, but I forgot, till you just mentioned that, I forgot that was a mantra there. It was like, sales are all that matters.
That's
and
it.
As long
It doesn't matter
yeah.
what's on the air. They don't care.
Yeah.
Because to them, Mr. was a little out of touch with the music. Like, it doesn't matter what the music is. It doesn't matter what people are saying. It's like the rock star salespeople. And, I loved our salespeople. We had some great salespeople, but they didn't do a show.
We were what they had to sell. We had to do well for them to have something to sell.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yep.
Yeah, they kind of missed that part. And I forget that mindset too. And we're going there as entertainers and performers. And just when I thought this meeting couldn't get even stranger, the CFO, Dr. MD, as we used to call him,
Yep.
who we loved, he was a great guy.
Yep.
We hear a knock on the door and he comes in and he's like, "Oh, sorry to interrupt. I just got to, and he looks at the owner and he said something about, how much do you want me to pay on blah, blah, blah loan? And the owner's like, well, I don't know. How much do we still owe on that? And the CFO is like, I think we owe, and he looks through some papers and he's like, let's see, $7 million. And without blinking, the owner goes, wow, let's just pay it off. And right then and there, just casually writes a check for $7 million like he's paying his cable bill. And then he hands the check to Kat, hands the checks to you.
I
Kat.
know. And I'm like, okay, I'll pass it over. I'm always the one to pass the gravy or the green beans. I'll pass this.
Yeah. And for a split moment, Kat had $7 million in her hand, yet they couldn't pay us $7 more an hour. Like, irony died right there.
But I know what it feels like to hold a check for $7 million.
And I'm sitting there going, we should drive to Vermont and triple our coupons. But bro just wrote a check for $7 million like it was nothing. But telling us like how to save. And I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening in front of me in this moment. And is up, down? What is happening?
Picture the scream painting of my hands by the side of my face. That's how I felt inside. So we tried to figure out what to do next. So after that,
we didn't get the raise in that meeting, did we?
No, that didn't work out. But
I'm surprised we didn't get a pay cut. I'm surprised he wasn't like, I'm paying you how much?
You guys wasted my time. I'm taking off $1 an hour.
You could have qualified for food stamps after that meeting.
After that, we tried to get back on our feet, have a better negotiating position. So do you remember, Darwin? We signed with an agent to negotiate for us. This is
because
gonna,
we sucked
this is going to be the ticket. We're clearly not good at this. They're not going to tell an agent, you know what? They just need to clip some triple coupons.
All I got out of it was that I can get a really cheap looking suit on the clearance rack at JCPenney in Vermont for a triple coupon. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
No.
And all I got out of it is I'm skilled at holding a $7 million check for about 4 seconds.
Right. So we sucked at this part. And we clearly need someone. And we found a guy who by chance was representing another morning show in the building who we knew was doing well. And we didn't find him through them. I forgot how we found him though, but by chance he happened to represent them. And so, so how did this go?
This is another example of what can go wrong for Darwin and Kat. So we signed with this agent to negotiate for us. And this agent, experienced industry giant, accidentally sent us the contract for another show in the building that was negotiating at the same time. Now, Darwin, it's no secret that your first name is Brian. Mm-hmm. The host of this other morning show is also named Brian. There are a lot of Brians in this world, so it's an easy mix-up. And when we saw how much they were making, we flipped our shit. And that ended our relationship with that agent. That was it. Darwin and Kat had an agent for like 3 days.
I opened my email and saw the contract, the proposed contract, and screamed.
Are you kidding me?
And called you, and I think I could barely talk. I was so angry.
They do phony phone calls. They don't write their own beds. Oh, I was so upset.
Well, at first you didn't know what I was saying, and I'm like, check your email. Like I think I had the demon voice.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this? Well, and at first, the cruelty of it was, at first you thought the agent had forwarded us an offer from them. And remember at first you thought it was actually for us?
Oh my God, our ship has come in.
And I was like, no, look at the names. It's a mistake.
We're going to be able to afford Taco Tuesday. No, you're going to still make your own tacos and they'll be sad.
So that was the end of that. And he was very apologetic.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. So?
So you said, wait a minute, Darwin, I know somebody I grew up with who's a big time agent.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll do this for us.
Yeah. She is one of the biggest entertainment attorneys in the business.
Yeah, so we gave her a call, and we thought she probably won't. And to our surprise, she said, okay.
Yeah.
And when we were looking through her website after she signed us, it was wild because she had, I'm not going to list the clients. I think we'll keep it confidential.
Okay, yeah.
But is that probably a good idea?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want to, but it had like huge, I'm talking like one of the biggest alt rock bands and another and another and another. And at the very bottom, Darwin and Kat. So it was just like surreal. And she added us to the website.
But I have known her since the 3rd grade. So we go way back. Which
was amazing.
Yeah.
And one time we're on the phone with her working through something. And she's like, just goes, oh, it's such a nice day. I'm swimming in the pool in my hump spot. And
but
we were
My Hump's the song.
Yes. And I was like, what?
My Lady Lumps / the pool.
So she is negotiating for us at this point, and it's amazing. And she didn't take any crap. I mean, at one point we were negotiating and I think the JCPenney suits came up or something. And she got on the phone with us afterward and she just goes, what kind of hillbilly bumfuck morons are you working for?
She called me up livid and she said, I can't believe your salary. Your salaries won't even pay for dry cleaning. And I said, as I looked down at my shirt that was free from a record label rep, imagine being able to get dry cleaning. It was so astronomically out of the picture for us at that point. She's the one who broke it to me and said, radio is the poor man's show business.
Which kind of stung, but it's true.
She later apologized for that. And I said, no, you're right. You're right.
It's the truth. Where's the lie?
Right.
But for what we were making was like, but we needed some of the truth but she fought for us and she did, but at this point in life,
it was a valiant effort.
At this point in life, my nice shirts were from Target. I mean, I didn't really need nice shirts because we couldn't afford to go anywhere nice.
Right.
And around this time, there was a sales manager who was a lesbian that we kind of joked her name was George because that rhymed with her last name.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Of course.
But she was very nice and we liked her. And she took us to like 677 Prime, just the fancy steakhouse to cheer us up.
Lovely.
But I remember sitting there and it had the opposite effects. I felt just so out of place because of our shit salary.
Yeah, I felt like Little Orphan Annie and Daddy Warbucks is taking us out. And I'm all like shifting uncomfortably in my paper dress.
Yeah. And just something about negotiating made me feel so self-conscious about the fact that we were paid dirt. And yes, our agent was totally right about being on the low end of showbiz. But then this other morning show, after seeing their contract, was like getting more than double what we were. And they had not even a fraction of the talent we did. And they weren't smart like we are. And everything just felt upside down.
Yeah, finally, though, I got a small bump in pay, which worked out to, you're sitting down, Darwin, $1 an hour more. And a few days later, the mister was walking by me in the office and he stops and he says, "So, Kat, are you happy with your raise?" And he was just like all big smiles. And at that moment, I figured I had nothing to lose. And I said, "No." And Darwin, the look of shock on his face was insane. And I said, "Thank you for the raise, but it hardly makes a dent. I have family and I just can't stay here and survive on this. And I think our show's ratings warrant me and Darwin making a real living wage." And he just looked and he was shocked. And he just looked at me like I'd backed over his mother with the station vehicle. And he just shook his head and he walked away.
I always have respected how you handled that because we've talked about this on the show a lot. You're such a pleaser.
Like me. I'll say anything you want. Just like me. Yeah, no, not anymore. That was it.
Not in that moment.
No.
In that moment, you set that aside.
Yeah.
And you were bluntly honest, but you were respectful.
Yes.
But honest.
Yes.
And he liked us a lot because we were honest, but liking us didn't yield more money, unfortunately.
Nope.
Now, I need to bring up the foot fetish thing.
Good. We need to talk about this more. We need to explore this more because I think the last time we spoke about it, I had buried this memory in a trauma fog.
We've mentioned this in previous episodes, but in fact, this was part of the negotiations and it was just on brand for us. And I know you remember this. I have notes from this meeting, believe it or not. I found them in my old email.
The meeting with the mister for us to get a raise.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. And it's 15. I have 15 bullets from this meeting.
Oh, God.
And it kept coming back to feet. So, number one, you ready? Now, we called him the Mister, and we called his wife the Mrs., just for some context for people who don't know. And this is my notes. You ready? Number one, the Mrs. has ugly toes.
This came up?
Yes, this is in my notes from the meeting. When the $7 million were passed to you to pass away or to give away or to do whatever you did with the $7 million. So the Mrs. has ugly toes. We learned this in the meeting.
Good to know.
This was at the beginning of the meeting. Okay. I wrote it down.
I feel his struggle. Okay.
Number two, I want you to point out the huge mistake he made here.
Hit me.
And a little part of you will die inside because of where you grew up. He said, he gave us some facts in this meeting. And one of them was WROQ in Los Angeles is a rock station.
Yeah, that is K-Rock, KROQ, where I started hanging out when I was 13 years old. That's a whole other story. I just died a little and some hot burning vomit just came up in my throat. Great.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like his stations he owned began with W, but in the West Coast they began with K.
It's a K.
So.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the fact he was telling us this as if we didn't know K-Rock existed was kind of weird.
World
Number
famous
3.
WROK. Number 3, Darwin.
Number 3. I don't know where this came from. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it jogs your memory, you tell me. Don't go out raping.
Does not jog a memory, but that is good general advice.
Why was he telling us this?
Why was somebody on a rape spree?
I don't know.
At the
it wasn't
studio?
us.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Number 4, if you get ratings, you can have a successful radio station.
Get out. That's how it works? Oh, okay. I thought it was like opposite.
But by you, does he mean us or him?
Right.
And then it got weird. People died. Number 5, people died in the ghetto. I can't even say it. It's so stupid. People died in the Battle of Gettysburg.
You're the history teacher. I think we need you to weigh in. Yes or no?
I don't know why he was telling us this. Like, I
How?
remember it.
How did we
I remember
pivot
it.
to a Gettysburg discussion?
He just suddenly was, after he went from having ratings and that radio's like a war, and then he's telling us people died in the Battle of Gettysburg. It's like, no shit, really? And then all of a sudden, we're talking about his youngest son, Joe, who everyone called Blaze, but Joe. Joe went to a wedding.
Oh, good. Awesome news. We're still poor and starving. Great.
Yeah. And then he came back to radio and he was telling us, according to my notes, you have to tell people that a band you play is coming in concert. You have to let them know.
I'm learning so much about broadcasting. Thank you.
Yeah, and he also let us know that we were facing a lot of challenges in 2000, what was it, 7, 8, I don't know. There's this thing now called the internet.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Tell me about it. That sounds like the future. This is like Get Smart. I'm going to be talking to my shoe. Really?
I could talk to my watch. I mean, that's future. So remember we couldn't stream our own radio station because they didn't want to pay for enough internet there?
Yep.
And then he started with money saying there's some people in radio get paid a lot of money, but they're bad role models. And Howard Stern is a bad role model.
The show we replaced. And we certainly wouldn't want to set a bad example by having a living wage. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So he was
because that would be giving in to Stern.
Yes. That if he paid us too much, we would become like Howard Stern, a bad role model.
You know, if you were able to eat properly.
Number 10, I don't get. You'll get a raise if sales are there before he does.
I don't understand those words in a row.
I don't either, but I wrote it down. So
okay.
It was something he said.
Don't know.
I also don't know the next one. I just wrote down crazy. I think I was just writing crazy because this meeting was so crazy.
I'm thinking he slipped back into his Gettysburg round.
Maybe. This was going off the rails. Maybe that's when the $7 million check showed up. And then number 12, back to the feet. He's not a toe man.
Is that the Sam and Dave song? Oh no, that's different.
So his wife has ugly toes.
Right.
But he's
Let's
not into
recap a
toes,
little bit. Yeah.
But he's into feet. And then people in Japan have nice feet. But the highlight when he went to Japan was not the feet. The highlight when he went to Japan, number 13, was that he went to the Mitsubishi factory.
Oh, who cares about Mount Fuji when he can see a new Mitsubishi Lancer?
Yeah. And that was the highlight of his trip there. And then
Good
he
to know.
also was unaware. He told us he was unaware, number 14. He was very unaware of the music we play, regardless of what others say.
Okay. Not the biggest Slipknot fan. Okay.
Remember, he thought Slipknot. Can you imagine him? He thought we were still smooth jazz at one point.
Sure. And we just seem like typical smooth jazz announcers.
We fit that totally to a T. So, and then the last one, back to the internet.
Oh, neat. This is the future. I want to hear.
You have the whole world at your fingertips on the internet, including toe porn.
Wait a minute. He didn't say toe porn, did he?
He did.
Oh,
it's in my notes.
Oh, my God.
But he's not a toe man. And the missus has ugly feet, or ugly toes. Ugly toes. I'm sorry, not ugly feet. So, to recap, the missus has ugly toes. He's not a toe man. People in Japan had nice feet, but the Mitsubishi factor was more interesting. And you have the world at your fingertips, including toe porn.
Your son went to a wedding too. Can we have more money now?
This was our meeting. So all of this led to the revelation, and that he finally, at the end of the meeting, comes around to not, all right, I'll give you a raise, but instead that the employee handbook has a ban on open-toed shoes and flip-flops because some people cannot control themselves over the sight of good toes and feet.
This is
Male
bad.
or female,
this
doesn't
is
matter.
Bad news for a lady. You know, you get your pedicure done, your feet are finally not looking monstrous. You want to wear something cute. Nope. You're just going to wear some like sad claustrophobic loafers.
Yeah, or me with my flip-flops on the day HR asked me if I was Jesus. And I said, what? And they said, well, only he could wear flip-flops here. Actually, no, he couldn't.
Oh, okay.
So,
I thought you needed me to build a cabinet. Okay, thanks. All right.
I can't. Sorry. So someone cannot control themselves at the sight of feet. That someone was clearly sitting in the room with us.
Yes, exactly. If he would have paid us like actual money that can like buy food and other things, I would have worn galoshes, mucklucks, something that is like thigh high. I don't care. I would have been fine with that.
You know, there's a website called feetfinder.com, and there's an app today.
Oh, God, don't tell me this. Really?
But no, I'm saying this because imagine if this existed back then. We could have just quit our job and made bank off of selling pictures of our feet.
Are there like categories on the side? Let me see. Like bunions, hammer toe, horns.
I'm not familiar with the app.
Okay.
I just know it exists.
I think we missed our calling.